Hey guys, how's it going? Here's my latest prop. Working on some pirate cannons for the pirate display I'm going to have this year in the garage. So I'm going to be building two of these guys, basically as you can see here, I'm kind of combining two methods. I'm using Daffy 64's realistic pirate cannon he built 2 years ago, and I'm going to be using the mechanics that Hi-Rez put in his pirate cannons that he did last year. So basically it's made out of an 8-inch sono tube. Get it Home Depot. I left it the same length, which I believe is 4 feet long, and cut a wedge out of the center, basically following Daffy 64's guide, and then pulled it back together and bolted together with some nuts and bolts to hold its shape, kind of get that larger shape on the back end to a smaller tube in the front. And that's definitely the hardest part, is getting it to bolt back together. Kind of one trick I found that made it easier for me to deal with is get some twine or rope and just tie it around a couple different places on the pipe, and actually my rope is still on the pipe, and it's basically where these sections of cardboard are around here. So the rope is actually underneath it, so it actually will hold it all together, even as it's getting completed. So I never really took that rope off. But I also went ahead and bolted it on the front and back end, which you kind of can't see, but I do have some pictures of how I did that. So in the interior there's a 3-inch PVC pipe, where it's going to hold the mechanics for the fog and the air and the light. And the muzzle is made out of some 3/4 inch foam. I basically cut a couple different discs, again following Daffy's guide, glued them together, and then spun them on a kind of like a homemade lathe, using a really long drill bit that I had used, that you use to cut holes in walls and running wires and stuff. I know Daffy used a dowel, but I couldn't find a dowel that was long enough. Most of them only came in 4 feet, and obviously it's a little bit longer than 4 feet once I added the muzzle. So that came out pretty decent. I'd like to get a little bit better at it, but we'll see on the second cannon. See if I can get a better shape on it. So again, I cut these strips out of another sono tube. They're basically 1.25 inches wide, and then I glued these over the rope to basically hide the rope. And basically what I did was I put a screw on each end of it to kind of hold it in place on the pipe, basically underneath where that seam is, where I cut the wedge out. Then I also added these tubes that I had left over from some pneumatic props I built last year, and I hooked them on with some wood glue. I tried crazy glue and nothing would hold it in place, so I'm trying some wood glue, put some painter's tape, and hopefully overnight it dries decent. But once I blend it all in with the caulking, which I did right here on the cardboard pieces, that should hold that tube in place, no problem. So the only other part I did here is I got a Tupperware bowl from the kitchen, so hopefully the wife doesn't notice. And then I went ahead and found this is a 1/2 inch insulation used over copper piping. Basically sliced it in half, and then I'm going to basically glue this in place and put some caulking around these edges to blend it all together. And so that kind of helps bridge the gap between the sono tube and the Tupperware bowl at the end. And then at the end, I found another a styrofoam ball here, 3-inch, from Michael's. I basically just sliced the bottom off of it. I'm going to glue that in place and again blend it all in with caulking. So in the end, it'll be all blended in pretty well. So the only thing I really have left to do is add the caulking around the tubing there, and I got to put the stanchion piping through there, which the cannon sits on the carriage, and that's how it rotates on the carriage. So I'm gonna have to kind of figure that one out, because my inner tube goes pretty far past, so when I cut the hole for the stanchion, I can't go all the way through. So I'm gonna have to figure out some way to kind of bolt it in place. So once all that's done, then I'll basically continue with the way Daffy's method was, using some lightweight spackling over the whole thing to get it some texture, and then just a quick sand to knock it down, and then I'll spray it with some polyurethane spray and to seal it, and some black satin spray paint to finish off the finishing. Then the next part, I'll have to build the carriage, and the last part, which I've kind of already put together. Haven't done anything to make it solid yet, but is basically the mechanics, which is the air cannon down there. So I'm not really going to talk about the mechanics right now, because Hi-Rez is writing a tutorial. It's going to be pretty detailed. It's going to go through all the parts on how to put the mechanics of it together. But it's all parts you can get from Home Depot. It's all PVC and just some wiring, lights, and different light parts, lamp kit parts. So should be pretty easy for that part. The hardest part is just doing all the detail. That's the part that takes time. So anyways, that's it for now. So I'll post some more videos as I get farther along with the detail job. And then I'll post another video at the end when I have all the mechanics working, so you can see how the mechanics worked out. I've tried it already before I went ahead and started putting all the detail in, and I really like the effect. Came out great. So I went ahead and started to work on all the detail work now that I know the mechanics are working great. So that's it for now. See ya.